guys, in this particular tutorial, we are going to go ahead and create a list of integer, and also we are going to go ahead and introduce another method called set method in the case of list, and we will see how it is different than the add method that we have covered in the previous tutorial. So we will see the difference between the set and add method, and also this time we will use the list of integers rather than using a list of strings. So now let's go ahead and play around with it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the array notation to create a list of integers. To do that, I'll say integer, the square brackets, the name of my list is called as my list, and then the new operator signifies that I'm creating a new list here, and it is of integer type. And I'm also going to go ahead and add some elements in this list. So I'm going to go ahead and add 10, 20, and let's say 30 in this list. So I'm adding these three elements. So right now, what I'm doing here is, this is my list. At index of 0, I'm adding number 10. At index of 1, I'm adding number 20. And at index of 2, I'm adding number 30. So now I have done something like this. Next thing is, let's go ahead and display my list. So I'm going to say this system.debug, my list has following items, and then I'm going to go ahead and display my list here. So it will display all these elements. So what will be the output at this point in time? Output would be 10, 20, and 30. It will display all these three elements. Now, the next step, guys, let's go ahead and say I wanted to replace 10 with another element called 15. So previously, if you remember, what we did was, in the example of friends, we did mylist.add, and at index of 0, what we did was we specified the new friend named Rahul, right? If you remember it. So what happened was, then what it does is it basically moves this particular element to the next, means the element does not get removed, but it goes to the next index. But if we are using a set method, what does the set method do is, if we say my list dot of set, and at index of 0, I wanted to put something like 100, then what will happen in this case is the 10 will get deleted and it will be replaced with 100. So what I mean here is, let's say I wanted to go ahead and say system.debug, and let's say my new list. So now what will happen is, at this particular point in time, we had three elements named 10, 20, and 30. So this will be the output at line number 2. Then what we did is, we said that we are setting a value 100 at index of 0. So now what will happen at this time is 10 will be removed. We did not explicitly say remove it, but it will get replaced because you're adding a number 100 at index of 0. So their 10 will no longer be available. So the new list will have 100 at index of 0, then 20, and then 30. Okay. Now let's say, instead of saying my list dot of set, let's go ahead and say my list dot of add. And this time I'm going to go ahead and add at index of 0, and I will add something called as 200. Now what I did is, now I added a new element, and the older element will not be removed, it will jump to the next index. So the new list would be, so if I go ahead and display my new list, what do you think it will be? My new list will have 200 at index of 0, then 100 will move to the index of 1, and then 20, and then 30. So that is how my list will be. So set method, what it does is, it replaces the value that was actually there with the new value. But what the add method does is, it just adds that particular value, and the previous value will jump to the next index. So let's go ahead and execute this program and see if it matches what I explained to you. So let's go ahead and hit the execute button, and then go back to the debug here, and let's pull up our program window here. Okay, so what I said was, at the first time it will display 10, 20, and 30. The second time it replaced the 10 with 100. So now it displays 100, 20, and 30. And the third time what we did is we did not use the set, we used the add method. So now the output is 200, 120 and 30. So it did not replace it. What it does, it added another element. Set, what it does, it replace it. So now here let's go ahead. Another way of, instead of using the set method, you could have also said something like my list of 0, and we could have said 500. So now what will be, this is another way of replacing it. So it's similar to using a set method. So now what will happen is, first of all, you set it to 100. Now 100 will get replaced with 500. So what will happen is the output would be 520 and 300. So either you can use a set method or either you can do something like this. Both are going to do the same thing. They will replace that particular element which was there at index with the new value. So now if I go ahead and execute it, what will be the output, guys? Now, if you compare the output, it will be something like this. So at this particular time, it had 10, 20, and 30. So it displayed this one. Then what you're doing is you are replacing the zeroth index value with 100. So now at this point in time you had 100, 20 and 30. But then at line number 4 you're again saying that okay, at index of 0 I need 500. So the previous value also got replaced. So the new value is 500, 20 and 30. But at this line, you're not doing the set. What you're doing is your add. You're using the add method. Add methods will add that particular element at index of 0, and whatever was the previous value at that index, it will go to the next index, or it will move to the next index. So then at this point in time, it will be 200. Here it will be 500 because you have replaced it. And then 20 and then 30. So this is the difference between using a set method and using a add method. Now if you wanted to go ahead and calculate the size, what will be the final element size would be? It is 4. So let's go ahead and use the size method to display the size. You can just say my list dot of size and it will display 4. So let's go ahead and execute it. It is 4 here.